In part 1 of tuning and starting our new Cummins 6.7s for the first time, we're not quite ready to hit the start button just yet, but we're getting close. Before these electronic Cummins can fire up, the old Detroit wiring had to come out. All of it. We'll show you why and walk you through the custom wiring we had to do, including making our own injector harnesses, wiring in the Baldur ECU, and modifying our Morse shifters to work with this new setup. We'll also explain why we went with the lead-acid starter batteries, and why we cranked for rail pressure and oil pressure before thinking about ignition. If you've ever wondered what it really takes to go from big old mechanical engines to fully electronic power, this one's for you. Let's get into it. If you guys have been following along on this journey, you'll know that we're putting in electronic engines to replace our old Detroit diesel mechanical engines. Now, one part that is important in all of that is removing all of the old wiring for the original engines. There was nothing directly related to running the engine short of the engine start and the engine stop solenoids. However, there was a ton of wiring running all of our gauges upstairs, all of that stuff. And I mean bundles of cable this big around. And amazingly enough, moving to electronic engines, I can knock that cabling size down from that big to that big. There's only, I think, I'd say 10 wires that run up to function everything on these engines that are external of the engines. So yeah, all this big bundle of wiring had to come out. All right, so I'm starting to remove all of the original monitoring wiring. So I've removed the two red panels that were here and here. That was all the mechanical gauges. I will be putting some back in again, just not ones that are crap. So got the old starter and stop solenoid up here. These are the cinders for the gauges up top. That's all coming out. We're doing something different for that, which should be a lot nicer. And we've got the other start stop here. And now for the moment I've all been waiting for. I get to get rid of all of the cables on the engines. So there's a few cables here. There's throttle cables, there's transmission shifting cables, and then there's two cables that control dampers that close the intakes on these engines. These engines have been known in the past to fail supercharger seals, which sucks oil into the engine, or at least that's from what I understand, which will cause a runaway condition. So what they do is they have these emergency dampers where you pull a knob up at the top up there, and it closes intake flaps on the inlet of the engines, so it will kill the engine even in the event of a runaway. Obviously not needed with the new engines, none of it. So I'm reefing it all out because I can't stand the cables. So here we go. So one of the questions that might get asked is, why did I build my own engine harnesses? Main reason being is because the engines, or the ECUs that I'm putting in, are not going to be mounted where the original ECUs were. They're mounted off the engine, so they're not exposed to vibration or anything like that. So everything had to be longer. I had to reach over off of the engine by another 2 feet, so the original wiring would not have worked for that. I've also added in a lot of sensory data that wouldn't have been on the original engine in either the truck or the marine format. So a lot of things that had to be put in that I just wanted to have as information for myself, different sensors, things like that. You can see we've got the new engines in the boat. They're not in place yet. They're just sitting, waiting for me to build motor mounts. But while I'm waiting on the shaft couplers to be done and to get here, I figured I'd go ahead and do some more on the wiring harnesses to get those finished up for the engines. So what I'm doing right now is I'm building all the injector leads. So these are the basically power and ground wires that feed each individual injector inside the motor. One big thing with the kind of voltages that we're dealing with and the pulsing of the injectors is these wires need to be twisted, and when you twist them, it reduces the EMF on the not the EMF, the electromagnetic interference, EMI. So basically what I've got here is each one of the injectors is a pair here, and now I'm going to twist them. And the easiest way to do that is just attach them at one end, and then I run them to my handy drill here. I'm just sneak back here, get them on there. See if you guys can see this, I'm not sure. And I tighten my drill down on the 2 wires. Okay, and then you just twist. I usually twist a little farther than I normally would because it will untwist a bit. So there we go. That's my first twisted pair for my injectors. It's going to do a little springy untwist, but that's how you do it. So there we have it. One twisted pair. So now I go to the next pair. And I wash, rinse, repeat.
What are you making?
These are the injector harnesses for the new engines. So this is where the wires that open and close the fuel injectors. So kind of critical.
It's a little bit.
So I do, just to get the lengths right on everything, I put them in here, feed them through tight where all my curves are there, and then I just snip along the bottom edge of the connector. And then I'll go and crimp all of these and it'll come out looking like that.
Very nice.
It does the trick. Some of the external wiring that had to be done would be for, say, the shifters and the start-stop buttons, because obviously going to an electronic engine, we need electronic controls. We had the original Morse controllers. That was all cable, so all that had to come out and we had to switch to wire. It's all drive-by-wire stuff. So that was, I think, 6 wires that went up to the shifters, maybe 10 wires for that. I can't remember exactly. And then a couple of wires for the start-stops, because it's all integrated into one latching button, which made things super easy. Today I am working on engine controls. So these are all my everything coming from the engine and from the pilot house. These are going to be all my shifter wiring and ignition button, all that good stuff. Yeah, and the rest of this is just main relay stuff and sensors. These are all my injector wires down here. So I get these all connected up, and I got to wait for a couple of things. I've got another one of these fuse blocks on the way, and then I've got a ground block on the way as well. That should hopefully show up tomorrow. And then I can finish up the wiring. I've got my alternator regulator up there at the top as well. So yeah, just plugging away at getting this done, and then I've got to do it all over again for the other engine. So all sorts of fun. I should probably go into why I chose the Baldur ECUs that we've used. The truck ECUs, while great for what they do, they're not designed for what we're wanting to do with them. You could do tuning with them and kind of make them work. But what I found over the years in doing motor swaps in the automotive sector is that having an aftermarket programmable ECU always makes things easier. You don't have to try to make the factory ECU happy with something that it was never meant to do. You just build it all from scratch and it's set up specifically for what you want. It gives you the ability to integrate in other systems. I mean, the amount of sensors that I can put into one of these ECU is staggering. I've got CAN bus communication that's completely user configurable, and what that is rather than voltage signals or current signals coming from other devices, it's all a communications network like Ethernet based on a computer. It just sends data. So I can get away with 2 wires that transmits massive amounts of data to wherever I want that data to be sent to, whether it be to gauges up in the pilot house or another engine or say a fan controller. It just makes it simpler. What it also allows me to do is custom tailor the tuning on the engine to the build that I've built for the boat. When you're buying engines for anything, and say for example this boat, you're looking at the QSB Marine engines. They're fantastic engines. However, they're not specifically bespoke engines for the boat that you're putting them into. They make horsepower ranges, but they're not necessarily dedicated to what the exact operational characteristics of your boat is. I'm able to do that with these engines. I can design them to specifically sit at the points where we want them to sit at and be most efficient in those ranges. And with the aftermarket ECUs, I can tune them and set them up specifically to run in those ranges at peak efficiency. Now in this video, mostly getting into the configuration aspects, the wiring aspects. We will get in heavier duty into the tuning later, but that'll be within the next couple of months, so you guys will have to wait for that one.
It is almost 8 p.m. at night. I'm making dinner. I've invited Dave, who is on a sailboat over there all by himself for dinner. So I just scrambled up some eggs with steak, peppers, onions, yummy yum, with some potato salad. But I had to come see what Blaine was doing because he has been working hard all day trying to get something working. I don't know what it was.
Getting the ECU powered up for the first time.
Ooh, it's a good day.
I'm almost there. Just have to do a couple more little things here, but getting very close to having that up and running.
And the ECU operates or controls the motors.
The
Can you say that?
the transmissions. Yep, it does a lot.
It's the brain of this operation.
It's the brain box.
It's the mechanical brain. It's not mechanical, is it?
No.
It's electronic brain compared to you're the human brain. Brains, and together, both of you are going to run these engines.
Yes. So yeah, just trying to get it powered up here, but I got to get it configured first. So I've got to move a pin here so I can get it powered up, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
But it's almost dinner time.
Almost dinner time. Yeah.
You can go back to work after dinner.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Because you have lights in here.
I do. I certainly do.
You have to work till midnight.
I'll work however long it takes to get this.
I am now a slave driver because I'm ready to get Tangerella back in the water, but I'm not trying to pressure my husband that much.
No. She would never do that. I touched on our original Morse controllers. That's our shifters / throttles that we have on board. I love them. I like how they feel. I like how I drive with them. I'm used to them. And I didn't want to get rid of them. Unfortunately, they're mechanical and we need electronic. So I undertook a little bit of a fun project of converting our original Morse controls from mechanical to electronic. Required a little bit of sensor and switch fabrication and wiring, but at the end of the day, they worked out really well.
Blaine is gluing magnets.
Mm-hmm.
He's ready to set them down on this thing. Oh, they're really tiny, Blaine.
Tiny but powerful.
I feel like we should have cleaned up around here before we start doing this.
Nope, I am totally fine.
So the magnets are going in those?
Mm-hmm.
And you fabricated those?
Yep. Well, I just altered them a little bit. Doesn't exactly have to be super strong fabrication.
Oh, this is smart. That's smart. Line them up before you...
Line them up, and that'll keep them flat, and it'll keep the epoxy off the base of the magnets. SMRT I am.
Okay, so those magnets are going to make our old controllers electronic.
That's right.
Sweet.
Yep, we've got
Another jaw bites the dust.
little sensors here.
Another jaw bites the dust.
Right in here. And then as you shift the shifter, that comes down, and that's what these are. They go down, and that's the magnet, and this is the pickup for the magnet. So that just tells it to engage the gear. And that's it.
This is going to be a fun sea trial. New engines, new shifters, new everything. I might be in the dinghy.
That dinghy would not do anything for us, sadly.
Ay, ay, ay.
So just to show you guys what I've done to convert these shifters to electronic, very simple. I've got two Hall effect sensors, and what these are is these take a magnetic field, and when they sense a magnetic field over the sensor, they create a ground onto this wire. That goes back to the ECU, and the ECU can detect when it sees a ground there, and then it engages the gear. What I've done is inside of these tubes here, I've put magnets on the other side. So now, whenever you shift into gear, there we go. That magnet is now over the top of that sensor and will engage the ear. Same on the other side. Simple as that. And then as you also go, this is the throttle up here, and as that moves, obviously that pulls your throttle cable typically. So what I've done for that is I've got a throttle position sensor mounted right here. And you can see that will pull when this guy goes. So I'll have a rod between those two, and as this goes forward, it will twist that throttle position sensor. Simple as that. No big fancy electronics like what you got in the modern electronic throttle systems. It's just a simple 2 switches and a throttle position sensor. Simple, simple.
You have one. You have starboard. Where's Porsche's?
It's still got the bare wires. I gotta connect
Oh. Chrome components sourced from Japan and assembled in Hudson, Ohio, USA. That's interesting.
Yeah. And then that guy will go in there.
And they'll be that much closer.
And they'll be that much closer. The controls will be pretty much done.
Okay, let's see what Blaine's been up to. Oh boy. Oh boy. He's got the glasses on, the computer out. My guess is he's been wiring.
No, I haven't. Well, kind of been wiring. So I've got some adapters, and that's
Maggie, come here. Come here.
that's basically what takes the communication from the ECU and will be transmitting it to our gauge setups upstairs. So I'm just getting all that configured today.
Which sounds like I heard nothing of what you just said. Say that once more.
I said I'm working with
No.
the digital communications. So basically the ECU, the control module for the engines, sends data out, and I'm taking that data and I've got hardware that's converting that and displaying it on gauges up in the pilot house. So it's taking the electronic data and redisplaying it.
It sounds time consuming.
A little bit. Nothing ever is quick and easy, but yeah. It was a good thing to monkey with today. So I'm just getting the second control box laid out right now. As you can see here, I've got all the components screwed down. The only thing that I don't have is the alternator regulator, which would be up at the top up here because I don't have a second one currently. But just to kind of walk you through it, this is the main relay. That's what powers up the ECU and all the auxiliaries that come off of that. I've got my ground bus bar. I got my power, fuse and power. I've got my 2 solid state relays for controlling my my solenoids for my shifters, and then I've got 2 standard relays, electromechanical relays for basically a safety. What that does is I can wire them up where the transmission will not be able to try to engage 2 gears at any one time, and that will also, if I have a failure in the ECU, those will prevent the solenoids from engaging, because when this power goes off in the ECU, it actually engages the outputs, all of them, because they're a pull to ground, and they naturally will go to ground when the ECU is powered down. So those are my power relays that prevents those solenoids from triggering when the ECU is in a failed state or a shutdown state. That's it. Now I'm gonna start wiring in the port engine. Hi, everybody. I'm here working on the second panel box and engine controls. So these are all my engine wires that I have to terminate and connect to the correct places on the ECU. They're all shielded wires, so they've got a foil braid inside of them to keep electromagnetic interference from happening. Yeah, I'm just firing away here.
And what's everything in your box right now?
Well,
Tell us what's in your treasure box, Blaine.
what's in my treasure box? So I've got ECU. That's what does all the thinking for the engine. So it fires off the injectors and controls the boost for the turbocharger, does the transmission work. Then I've got the main relay, which provides power to everything. I've got a fuse block. I've got a ground bus. And then I've got my relays up here. These are for the transmission shifting. So these are for the what's called super shift. So that's pulse width modulating the solenoids. So it's a soft engagement. And then that's my safety relays. So just in case I have a failure on one of these solid states or inside the ECU, that keeps the gear from engaging automatically.
How do you know how to do all this?
Years of working with engine control systems.
And what's that paper right there?
This is the pinout for the ECU. So this tells me where everything has to go. So you've got basically all your functions. Then you have, well, technically this is the functions. This tells you kind of where things are normally put. And this is the pins over on the side over here. And then the next piece of paper here, that's the pin map. So that shows you on the ECU what corresponds to those pins.
And why are you doing this up here now?
Because it's a lot easier than sitting on the floor of the engine room. And it's a lot better for my back.
You did the starboard one downstairs on the floor of the engine room, and you could barely walk the next day.
Miserable. So, much better.
Much more comfortable in the Easy Boy.
Good to go.
Keep at it. We want to get back in the water.
Oh yeah. Tired and making mistakes. I've got started to connectorize here, but I forgot my shield wires. I've got to ground, and unfortunately I cut them off at the strip here, so I'll have to strip these back a little farther and pull those ground wires or those shield wires back out again. Not a huge deal. It's just getting tired and making mistakes. So it might be about time to quit for the night.
Well, dinner's on. It's a dinner of Annie's today. And we're not sponsored by Annie's, but we do like it. If you want some Annie's, Blaine.
I'll do that.
Well, why don't you take a break and call it?
I am. It's exactly what I'm going to do.
We just had an awesome Sunday brunch with our nephew who lives over here.
T-Man.
T-Man, T-Dog, whatever anybody wants to call him. And now Blaine is back to wiring.
Yep, get second engine all wired up and make things happen.
This is your goal, is to finish this today, right?
Yep. Get it finished and get the box mounted. I got to weld a plate on this side down to the strut, or the strut. Yeah. Stringers. Stringers. Some of you might know I'm a big proponent of lithium batteries, and they are phenomenal for the applications that they're made for. Unfortunately, for, say, engine run batteries, I typically would shy away from them, and not because the batteries themselves can't handle it. I mean, they can start the engines, they could run the engines with zero issues whatsoever. That being said, lithium batteries are run off of a battery management system. And that battery management system is always monitoring conditions on the batteries. And there is always the potential for a disconnect. The BMS is designed where if it senses a problem, it will turn off the batteries. That's obviously not a good thing on your engine battery for your main running on an electronic engine, because sometimes it doesn't even take a major issue. Like, it could just be a small thing and it will shut off the batteries. And if you're out cruising somewhere and say you're in a tight area and all of a sudden your engine shuts down, not so much of a good thing. So on this particular configuration, we went with lead acid batteries for the main engine run batteries, as well as the start batteries. The start batteries I'm less concerned with because that's literally just a one-time on and off start. I'd have no issues running lithium for that. But for the engine run batteries, we're sticking with lead acid. I had to make up a little bracket for the starter relay.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting it on.
Cool. And then we got to carry those big batteries down here.
Yes, we do.
Where are we going to put them?
Right there.
Where? Right there?
There's the big opening there. Until I make a permanent home for them, they're going to have to go there. It's going to be reminiscent of when we had all the 8D batteries in the middle when we were...
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Down.
We are carrying some very, very heavy batteries. I think they're our starter batteries. But we got to carry them from the transom all the way up and through the boat down into the wheelhouse. There's like no easy way to do this.
At least it's only 2.
2, 3. Ugh.
Good old 8Ds.
There's some heavy batteries. They were so heavy. I like the little lithiums, they're much lighter.
Yes, they are.
Oh, grab.
There we go.
If you sat on the 2 things, what are they called?
Batteries?
No,
Terminals?
the terminals, would that zap your bum?
Depends on how sweaty my bum is. Which right now it's probably a bit sweaty. So yeah, I'd probably feel it. It wouldn't it'd just be like a little tingle. But
Would it be like a fun tingle or
Probably.
a ouch tingle?
probably not a fun tingle. Typically battery tingles are not fun tingles.
Yeah, these are the questions we ask each other while we're doing this. Just something you
Answering the
wonder.
important questions.
It is. Wonder if you sat on 2 battery terminals together. It's like people with that little nose ring there. I always wonder if you put a double D battery, you put a D battery right here, one on each terminal, would it zap through their nose piercing? What do you think?
I think you're thinking of a 9-volt battery, the square ones.
Yeah. Is that what I said?
It wouldn't zap them, but it'd probably get hot.
Oh, it wouldn't tingle?
Now on every new engine build that I do, the most critical thing on initial startup is oil pressure. 100% oil pressure. That is pretty much my only concern when I'm initially firing an engine. Anything else, it's not relevant for initial massive amounts of safety or failure. I just have to have oil pressure. So you'll notice when I'm firing the engine over or cranking the engine over, I want to build that pressure before I actually attempt to get the engine running. That way, as soon as that engine starts, we've got oil pressure. And that's not just for initial. I mean, I typically like to have that for pretty much all the startups afterwards as well. There's typically always a little bit of a delay, but for initial start, just to get the oil flowing around the engine, I always do that.
Okay, sorry, I heard you up on deck and I'm like, look at its boats, the engine's going. So what are you doing? You don't have injectors.
Just don't have the injectors connected. I'm just turning it over to build oil pressure because I want to make sure that the oil system's primed before I fire it.
And is this normal what you do
Yep.
with new engines?
Every engine that I build, don't
How-
fire them up until I have oil pressure.
How long do you have to turn them over for? So are we starting this tonight or tomorrow?
It's probably going to be tomorrow because it's already dragged the batteries back down again.
Okay.
Although when I first started cranking it was turning over fast.
I know, I heard. I felt, babe. I felt it upstairs. I'm like,
38 MT 24 volt starter, it cranks pretty good. That's what I was hoping for.
good.
And it's not even warm. It's barely warm now after cranking it that long.
Are you happy with how it's sounding right now?
So far so good, yeah.
Good.
I'd be happier if I started to see some oil pressure, but
We're not seeing any?
no, not yet.
Is that normal?
Yep. Depends on the engine. Some engines take a really long time to prime, other engines not so much.
Oh, so that's what we're doing. We're priming it. Now I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's no oil in the oil system at all, right?
Right.
So, and the oil pump doesn't move a ton of fluid, so it's a big pipe that comes up from the sump up to the oil pump.
But we do have oil in the engine.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And it appears to be staying in the engine, which is good.
That's always a bonus, unlike the diesel this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't noticed. It looks like I got a little drip on the saltwater side back here. I got to figure out where that's coming from.
Do you want to show them?
Oh.
Take the camera, you can show them. It's on.
It looks like it's coming from the transmission cooler. If I can get down in here, so you can see it right on the bottom of the trans cooler. Right here, there's a little drip forming, and it's about to drip. I'm not sure if it's coming from the hose clamps up here at the top, or if it's coming from one of the plugs for the zincs. So I'm gonna do a little looking around, see if I can figure that out. But yeah, we're close to firing Stella anyway.
I don't even know what time it is.
It's gotta be 6 o'clock.
7 o'clock. We've had dinner. Oh, poor Blaine. He can't even stand up straight. Are you okay?
Back's a little...
Did you take Advil? I told you.
I did. I took 2.
7 p.m. We just had some... What did we have? Oh yeah, BLT sandwiches. I'm eating some gummies, which I absolutely love. Blaine is back to work in the engine room. We did sit in the hammock for half an hour and have a beer. God, I love gummies. And now I'm going to go do some exhaust, and he's going to do whatever he's doing.
Now you'll notice I was talking about rail pressure as well. Rail pressure is the fuel pressure that's supplying the injectors, and that's what your big high pressure pump feeds, is that fuel rail. The critical thing with that is simply the engine won't run without rail pressure. I had those high pressure pumps apart, replacing seals and making sure everything was good inside. So I wanted to make sure that when we went to start the engine, that I was going to be able to build rail pressure and have enough rail pressure to have these engines functioning like they should. So it's always good to just check and make sure that that comes up on the fresh build and it's there before you even try to start the engine. Good news.
What?
We've got rail pressure.
Woohoo! No clue what that means, but woohoo!
That means that we have pressure to the injectors. So technically that means if I were to plug the injectors in, the engine would start.
Woohoo!
But I'm still not seeing rail pressure or oil pressure.
Uh-oh.
So, yay.
So yay, but no yay?
No yay.
So, yay! Okay, got it. That was a woohoo! Okay, go back to turning over your engine.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait because I gotta check the solenoid, the pressure control solenoid.
You know what? I have to say, I thought this was so easy. You just install engines and you turn the key and it starts.
Well, if you spend $40,000 to $50,000 on an engine, that's what happens. But if you do your own ECUs and all the other stuff, that's not what happens.
Maggie is not a fan of being left upstairs alone, so she just came and found us. She's like, what are you guys doing? Why is everybody down here? No one's upstairs anymore. Did you get lonely? Oh, poor puppers. We're a bit frustrated because Blaine is getting common whale pressure. Am I getting this right?
I'm getting rail pressure.
Rail pressure, but not oil
no
pressure.
Oil pressure yet.
So did you just go watch some YouTube videos?
No, I was reading to see if this. Basically, I wanted to see how long these take to prime. There's remarkably little info on it. I have had engines that were very difficult to get primed before. So what I'm going to do now.
Well, how many times do you think you've turned it over so far to try to get it primed?
I'd probably turned it over a total of
30
to 40 seconds, probably.
Oh, like 30 to 40 seconds total?
Solid 30 to 40 seconds.
Okay.
which I would have liked to have had pressure by now, but I'm not getting any. But like I said, the pipe is very large on this, the pickup tube for the oil pump. So what I'm going to try next is another trick that we've done is you can put a little bit of pressure into the crankcase, and I leave one oil line off. So basically it pushes the oil up into the dipstick tube and makes it easier on the oil pump to prime. But what I have to do is I've got to close off all the places where air can bleed out. So that's what I'm working on right now. Any promises that this is going to work? A lot, not mine. Yep, just hold your thumb over that. Okay, where's my oil pressure? Okay, and then also watch that and tell me if oil starts coming out.
Now that the trick worked, we're going to try it without the trick.
And see if it's primed enough to make pressure now.
Okay.
Here goes. Not yet.
Shoot.
Okay, we might just have to do it a little longer.
Should we call it a night?
I think so.
Let's call it a night. At least we know the trick worked.
Yeah, I'm kind of done.
I'm done too. We're actually both so tired. I don't even feel like having a shower. I'm just... Okay. You did good, Blaine.
I'll be happy when I have oil pressure, because the second I have oil pressure, we can fire an engine.
Whew, tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen how we rebuilt both Cummins truck engines before dropping them into our 78-foot boat, go check that out next. It'll give you a better idea of what we started with and how far we've come.